All right. It is early in the morning on Saturday, and I said that I was going to do this. And ask myself if I need some lights. Nice looking cabin. Yeah, this is the Piper Cheyenne. This is, let's see. So let's get this set up. I said I was going to do a flight this morning from cold and dark in this airplane. I've got a checklist which I've linked in the description that I made from mostly from Coronado's checklist. I basically just took out all the stuff that you really can't do. I mean, some things, you know, it it's a good, it's a really good GA airplane once you get it on the runway. Before that, there are some things that just don't work, and you kind of have to be aware. Well, you don't have to be aware, quite honestly. There's just some things that don't work. These switches down here don't work, and some of the steps just you just need to skip them because it just clutters your mind. You go down there to check to make sure this is up. Well, it doesn't move. The alternate static air switch doesn't work, which is something I think that they should do in all their airplanes, but that's just my opinion. And so just this is what the checklist looks like. It's still pretty extensive, if you look at it. That's not a little checklist. And down at the bottom, I put the landing procedures, which was I had to go back and do some research on how pilots actually land this airplane. It flies pretty, it's a good flying airplane. It flies right by the numbers, just, all the way down final, all the way, fuel flow is perfect. I really have to say. I've checked that on the charts, which Coronado provided. And yeah, so these are the procedures that you would follow if you were going to land this thing, if you're going to fly it and land it. It's a good airplane. I've had probably, if I were to guess, 25 different Coronado planes. They've made good money off of me. And about, I would say, 1 in 4, 1 in 5 has been good. It's pretty rare that I stick with one for that long. I think the ones that I've stuck with the longest were the Cessna 337, the PA-46 Malibu, and this one, out of all those. The Malibu and the Cessna 337 were both unprepared. So, yep. Yep, so pre-flight checklist. I'm just going to go through this step by step. Some of which I'll be hunting around doing things, but I'm in no rush. It's early in the morning, as you can see. So the first thing is flight controls, and yeah. So what I do when I check the flight controls is I put my hand on one side of the yoke, and then turn the yoke towards the aileron, and if the aileron, and I put my thumb up, and if my thumb is pointing at the aileron and the aileron is up, so I turn it to the left, my thumb is up and pointed to the left, that aileron should be up. It can happen that during any maintenance or something like that, it's opposite. So that's why you do that. You put your hand on the yoke, put your thumb up, turn the control to the right, that aileron should be up, and then go the opposite way. So yeah, that does happen sometimes. So flight controls are okay. Electrical switches. This one, is this off? Yes, it's off. These are the inverters down here. There's one here. And we'll remove that yoke. There's one way over here, right there. Barely see it in the dark. Avionics off. Gear handle down. Parking brake right there in the middle. It's set. Battery master switch is already on. Annunciators is there, that little switch. That's bright. So all of them work. Fuel quantity. We're flying down to Santa Barbara. The airplane in general in flight burns about 500 pounds per hour. Looks like we have about 1,600. So we have lots of gas. Gear lights are 3 green. Flaps test down to 15. Noisy suckers. I guess I should check both sides. There they are. And then battery master switch off and oxygen pressure check. I think I left that in there. I don't know why. There is an oxygen gauge somewhere, but I don't know where it is. Not going to worry about it. I left it on because quite often I see that in a lot of these checklists, and this is a high cruising airplane, so why not? Cabin door is secure. Baggage is secure. Passenger briefing is complete. Seats adjusted. Belts, harnesses, these are all things that I have in all my checklists. Parking brake is still set. Crossfeed is down here. And if you could see the word crossfeed, then crossfeed is on. There it is right there. In fact, it doesn't say crossfeed, it says gross feed. But we will let that go. Firewall shutoff valves are, if they're off, that means you don't have fuel, or your fuel is shut off. So those are open. Let's see, what does it say? Oh, come on. All right. There we go. You just got to move it the right way. You just got to move down to the other click spot or something. Let's see, crossfeed firewall shut off. Power levers are idle. Prop control. So that's idle. Prop control full forward. Condition levers are stop. And these condition levers are either off or they are on. There's nothing in between. Cabin comfort, that's all down here. Inverter power switches are off. We checked that. I guess I should check the other. This should be off. That's off. Inverter power switches off. Generator bus tie switches. I assume they mean circuit breakers. Yeah, here's the bus ties here for this. These don't work. So, yeah. Non-essential bus tie circuit breaker is on because they don't work. Battery master switch is on. Cabin lights check. That's fine. Seat belts, smoking on, I'm the only person in this airplane. Those switches are right there. They actually work. Normal start. This is where it starts to get interesting. Okay, so battery 24 to 40, no, 24 to 28 volts. That's important because if you don't have enough voltage, the engine won't turn right. You could end up getting a hot start or some other condition. So make sure you've got 24. No, I don't. I'm sitting here burning my battery, but I'm pretty sure I'm not going to get a hot start. And there's no way to hook up an APU, so fuel pressure. Fuel pressure is right there. Fuel pump on. We'll do the left engine first. Fuel pressure. Make sure that's what that, no, that's oil pressure. Fuel pressure. Okay, yeah. And look, it works. Ignition switch on, starter on. So ignition switch on, fuel pump is on, and starter 1002. Engine is turning, and we're just going to put the condition lever in once it gets up to about 12. Where is it? There we go. Wrong one. And it will go over the red line for just a moment. The max ITT during startup is 1090 for 2 seconds. And starter is stabilized at 52%. Here is, we're getting about 59%, which is fine. I've seen another book that said 60%. So, you know, which one do you go with? It depends on the airplane. Some of the books that I've read on this airplane, it depends on the model. Some of them say the max altitude for this airplane is 29,000 feet. Others I've seen some say like in the low 30s, and another one said 34. Coronado says this is 29. We'll go 29. Okay, ITT, starter stabilized, idle 52%. Starter off, ignition off. Got a note in here that NG should advance to 68%, but that doesn't happen, and that's just the way it is. Generator on. So we're in the green here, and our amps are pulling about 10. So that one's good. Oil pressure check. 2 oil pressure gauges. Well, no, there's a fuel pressure, and then there's an oil pressure here. That looks pretty good, pretty close. Yep. Cabin door unsafe light is good. It says generator off when the ammeter is greater than 100. I suspect that's a typo. There's 100 right there. So, yeah. I think it's supposed to be less than. I'll fix that. That thing is loud. Alright, then we do it for the second engine. We turn the pump on, ignition on, starter on. Again, 1090 for 2 seconds. We're stabilized. Starter off. Ignition off. Well, I guess we could put the power lever to 68. Just to warm it up, I guess. There we go. Generator on. Generator's good, and then both generators on. So we're all set. I do have cross start procedures in there. We obviously don't need those. So before taxi, battery, master, generators on, lights as required. So that helps. Cabin comfort, if you want to mess with that, it's down here. Set that to auto. I check. Wind is calm. Temperature's about 50, maybe a little bit more. So this turns and turns and turns, and we don't need the AC. Well, we probably want the heater. I don't know what Heather fuel is. It's not mentioned in the checklist. Okay, so inverter power is on. We need to turn that on. Unfortunately, those don't work, but at least the switches work. Gyros. There's an inverter right here. Now, if you move the clock in this airplane, it changes the time of day. So, which is a weird thing to do, but we'll take off in the dark. How's that? Altimeter is 2999. Master switch airplane comes with a GNS 530, which is a nice piece of equipment. I've got no complaints with it whatsoever. We need to check the electric trim. Radios, we're not going to worry about. It says SAS checked. I'm curious what the SAS is. I left it in there. I figured maybe I would get back to it, but I have no idea what the SAS is. No idea. Okay, so then we check the generator. Check to see if we lost any power in anything. We didn't. Generator back on, switch to the other one. And that's it. Okay, so now I do my normal things, which is just put in a little flight plan. G, V, O, 2, K, S, E, A. And the weather along this route is not too bad. I was thinking about flying East Coast, which would generally mean me flying the TBM. But, because their weather is real crap, and I like flying in real crap weather. When you got low visibility, they've got like 400 to 600 foot ceilings. But I said I was going to do this morning, so I'm doing it. So that's not too bad. That's as checklists go, that's not too bad. I'm going to put my flaps back up. I'll take off with no flaps. Don't need them. But that's not too bad. It's as Coronado airplanes go, that's a pretty complete checklist. Not bad. Okay, so you can check the brakes. Okay, did that. But really, honestly, we should do that when we're taxiing. We've already set the altimeter. This is we're set on V-lock, so we got to fix that. So CDI, now we're on GPS. We have calm wind, so we can take either runway we want. Another thing that Coronado should really think about doing is integrating Avatab rather than us having to do this. KMOD. But, I wonder if, so we'll take 10 left. So, set that there. That actually should be set to 108. And the FAA, like right now, that should round up to runway 11. The FAA is pretty slow about changing runway 10 to runway 11. They'll get to it at some point, but these will probably switch to runway 11 someday. They do switch sometimes because of the magnetic variation in an area. So that's set. Altitude, we're going to set I'm going to say 4,000 4,000. It's pretty flat around here, so we'll just go with 4,000. And we'll swap over. Okay, so that's set to 4,000. So we are set, and set. Oil temp is in the green now, so we'll pull that back. Okay. So runway 10, so we're taking off. We want to go to the left, go that way, so we want to turn to the right to get to the runway. This is a freeware Modesto. Taxi light. And check the brakes. Make sure the compass is turning. And the gyro matches here. There's no backup altimeter. The one on the right hand side, while independent, does not work. It's a bug. Yeah, I wonder if Coronado has sort of left the building on X-Plane. They could easily have someone making these airplanes, but they chose to stop that this year, or last year. So what I'm hoping is another dev steps up and starts making these airplanes. Just Flight is making some good ones. If they could just make some more common ones, then I'd be pretty happy with that. Though the Piper Arrow is a pretty common airplane for a flying club. Not so much of a cruiser, though nothing's stopping you from cruising in a Piper Arrow at all. So yeah, this is free on the .org, this airport. And this lighting mod, it's actually a combination of two things. It's North American lighting environment, I think is what it's called. North American lights. And a new lighting mod. You have to stop before this line. By the way, the way you can tell is you're not allowed, you know, when the solid line is on your side, you can't cross it without air traffic control's permission. So if you see one of these lines and you're facing, and the dash line is in front of you, that means you've got permission to cross it. But if the solid line is in front of you first, then you can't cross it. That's the runway hold short line. That's if you have trouble remembering that, that's how to remember it. Sometimes, quite honestly, when the airport makers make them, they put them on backwards. So use caution. Okay, so we taxied. We checked our. Well, we didn't check the reversers, so, or the feathering. Yep, they work. Do we need to do that? So, prop reverse, flight instruments, prop controls. This is where we do an engine run up, and so the generators are on, ammeters and voltmeters are checked. Inverter bus tie checked, and the only thing I can say there is make sure the switches are on. Prop sync is off. Cross feed is, you're supposed to check this. I guess we should just check our fuel pressure. lever set at 1625. Now there are some things you need to do that aren't implemented, so I took those out of the checklist. But this will warm up the oil anyway, if it needs it. Let's see, pneumatic gauge is here. The only way that I know to check the pneumatic gauge is to turn on the structural de-icing. Here, that works. Overspeed generators or governors. I'm not exactly sure how you check that. It may have something to do with these switches, which I did take out. See, they move. I took these switches out, but I don't know how to check the overspeed governors other than to crank up the engine. So we're at 1625. There's nothing in the checklist about cranking up the engine further. But to check that the governors are actually stopping the prop at 2200 RPMs, you would go like this. See, they should stop at 22. Prop controls are full forward. Prop lever is set 1800. So now we go up to 1800. Right there. Ice protection. We check that. One thing I'd like to see is these. Typically how I check these things is watch the amps go up and down as you click them. We've already checked this one. There's tail floodlights. Not exactly sure why tail floodlight would be part of the de-icing panel. Unless it's just for looks. That works. Ice protection is checked. And honestly, I'll keep these on low, and we should be good with that. And that's it. Power lever is idle. Before takeoff, generators are on, fuel pumps are on, fuel pressure is checked, ice protection is on. Well, it will be. Oil cooler doors are closed. And a note about oil cooler doors, you keep an eye on your engine temperatures and particularly your oil temperatures. And if the oil temperature is getting high, you open the oil cooler doors. And two things can cause that. One is a hot day, particularly when you're slow, and the other thing is when you have your icing on. So if you turn your icing on, you may have to turn your oil cooler doors on. So just keep that in mind. SAS light is out. See, there's a SAS light. I hate to do this because I hate the sound, but and there's no, I don't think there's a, somewhere up there there's a possible, yeah, there it is right there, SAS light. It's all the way on the left. Who knows what that is? Okay, so fuel pumps are on, fuel pressure, ice protection is on, well, cooler door SAS light, fuel instruments, or flight instruments are checked, and this is set, and set. Lights are checked, that's fine. Engine gauges are good. Okay, radios, radar, and autopilot. So we got to turn this on. Set that to 2200. Prop sync is off. That's there. And props are full forward. Trim is set, right? Yep, still set. Flaps checked and up. Typically, they'll be up for this takeoff. Fuel quantity is checked. That's right there. Flight controls, free and correct. We already checked those, but never hurts.
Route to cockpit. Please show me where you want to go.
What did I do?
Route to cockpit. Please show me where you want to go.
Okay, I gotta fix that. So apparently my look to the right has suddenly gotten...
Route to cockpit. Route to cockpit. Please show me where you want to go.
Joystick. Custom, choose a command. Now, what? I think it's this one.
Route to cockpit. Please show. Route to cockpit. Please show me where you want to go.
There's nothing there. Okay, whatever. Flight controls are checked, passenger seats, pressurization system set. Aha. And we are going up to And you got to give this a little nudge, otherwise it doesn't work. It's another bug. All right, so lights. Icing. I believe that's right. Flaps set, transponder is on. Switches is the parking brake. So if I think about, you know, that start checklist, it's not bad for a morning thing. And this is where the airplane shines. This is where pretty much everything works. I didn't remove anything from this part of the checklist. Rotate. Gear up. Turn our yaw damper on. To go. There we go. Autopilot, and let's go nav, and let's do it. Activate. So ready. Just watch this. This gets down to about 140. I'll put on speed. and it can just monitor our speed for us all the way up. Pressurization's working. There's 140. Click IAS. Autopilot controls are down here. Speed, good. And the weather at Santa Barbara is 120 at 4, which would make me think of a runway 7 arrival. 2991. A lot of times in the morning, I mean, the TBM's got a real short chart, you know, startup checklist. It's got real easy flows. I don't have the flows down for this airplane, but you know, for a new airplane, and certainly when I'm if it's early in the morning like this and I've got time, I don't mind going through the whole checklist. It'll take me some time to get flows down for this airplane, like I have the TBM. Until then, it's going to be me working through the checklist if I decide to do cold and dark in this airplane. Let's get this thing going. Runway 7 has an ILS at Santa Barbara, so rock approach. We'll do that. And Gaviota is where we're flying to, so we'll come down here. This is a pretty interesting approach. Gaviota sits on top of a mountain, so keep your eye on that. That mountain looks to be about maybe 2,500 feet tall. Inhabit. Goyed. Apps at 1800. Good. Those are all right. So I'm hesitant to let's see. So if I put in 5,000 here. Save that. And go here. It says 32 minutes. Okay. And our fuel burn in the climb is about 290 pounds per side. So 580, nearly 600. And we'll get that down to about 210 or 420 total burn. Set. We're ready to go. I've got no, like I said, I've got no problems at all with the 530. It's a nice piece of equipment. The one that comes with this airplane works really well. Just a little bit more tedious to put the fixes in. Not particularly heavy. You know, we've got, you know, you can see what our fuel is. It's about half. Look at our climb rate, 1,300 feet. And that's as high as it'll go. These are full forward. That's Orbix down there. Notice our fuel flow has gone down quite a bit. This airplane will go 1,300 miles on full tanks. stops across the United States. Not too bad. And see, that's what I think of when I think of a cruiser. I want something that's going to go 1,000 plus, thereabouts. Yeah. I haven't bought an airplane or X-plane in a good while now. Not that I wouldn't. They had a good one that came out. But it's got to be something I want. Yeah, the SR-22 came out, and while I'm sure they did a terrific job on that airplane, it's just not an airplane I want. Now we're down to 2,300 or 230 pounds per side. Airspeed's coming up. And I'll pull the prop back. And we'll watch the fuel flow drop. We're doing, what is that, 160 indicated. It's still coming up. This doesn't cost you hardly anything in speed, maybe just a touch, but right about there. So that's 210 per side, 420 total. So 210 per side, and we've got 650 pounds per side. So that'll keep us it could keep us in the air for 3 hours. I may fly this airplane around Europe some, but I don't know if everything is in here. It used to be that when you got this GNS, you had to pick which database you were going to use, either the North American database or the European database. So if I do fly it in Europe, I may have to fly with the 530, which is fine. Though I don't know, I may fly the TDM because the views, right? I mean, you don't have this big, monstrous, beautiful engine blocking your view. If you're going to fly in Europe, there's a lot to see. There's a lot to see here, too. I bought all that. I've got all that orbiting scenery over there. And some airports too. knots. A little slower than the TBM. And that's with this very slight tailwind. Or actually, no, that's headwind. Why is this thing not stop? There we go. And you don't see a lot of people talk about it, but there's a VNAV button on the GNS 530 that works pretty well. Like, it's nothing you'd want to get too fancy with, but it'll give you a good idea when your top of descent is, if you don't want to use math to do it. ITT has gotten a little high. Let's see what we can do about that. So that cost us 10 knots. I pulled the power back a little bit and put the props forward, and now we're down to 200 pounds per hour each side. Not sure if that's a fuel savings, but that got our ITT back down in the green arc where it needs to be, where it should be. Yeah, for my first European flight, it's going to be from Faro to Leas, Leas in northern Spain. I'm going to head north, and I'm going to head west a little bit into France, and then up to England, and take a look around Orbic stuff. Like I said, I paid for all that stuff. I should use it. World update coming out for FS 2020 soon. Might make it more interesting over there. Next fix is Gaviota, which is right there by the airport, and see, it's 87 miles. This also shows 87 miles, so those two are in sync. This, I don't know. What does 18 mean? Set my altimeter. Okay, I'll set it now. Wouldn't it be nice just to spend the day in Santa Barbara? Schmuck. What are you thinking? I synced it up with the arrow instead of the... I don't know, it seems like there's been a lot of wind this year. More than usual. Seems that way. So, according to VNAV, our rate of descent needs to be about 1,500 feet.
Vertical track.
Okay. So we got 5,000 set. And go ahead and start down. Well, I gotta click that first. There we go. Power back. And our prop's okay. This airplane, you need to be using the checklist much more so than the TBM. Little things you need to do. Descent, you set the pressurization, set the altimeter, which I forgot what it is. 2991. And the seats and seat belts and smoking signs. Yeah, overall I would say this is a great airplane to fly. And if you want to fly turboprops, you pretty much have to fly X-plane right now. If you want accuracy. Can't think of a reason not to activate the approach. So I flew this in the Citation Mustang on may have been FSX, it may have been prepared, I don't know. But interesting approach. I flew it. The ceiling was 200 feet. It was maxes all the way down to minimums. This exact approach, and it was scary. It was scary. And I flew it by hand the entire way, just to see if I could do it, all the way from Gaviota. And I didn't know shit about flying a ILS. Well, I knew how to fly an ILS, but I mean, I was not very good at it, but I held it pretty well. Real world, I would have never done that. No way. I would have let the autopilot do the whole thing. Vandenberg is somewhere over there. Big runway. Santa Maria is over here, and what's the other one that's over there? I don't think my Santa Maria is very good. Mountains. Nice if this little mirror worked. I don't think it does. Yeah, I don't think it does. I think it's just a picture. know. Lights on. Normally I flip over to CDI on my own, but on this approach, I mean, you're flying to Gaviota and then here, and then it's a hard right turn right there. So if I do flip over to CDI, it will be after I make that right turn. So 5,000 to Yanni, and then 3,500 to Habit. For the approach, prop sync is off. I never turned it on. Prop controls 2,000 RPM or more. I'll go ahead and put them forward. Flaps 1 at 181, flaps 2 at 148. Gear at 153. Set at 5,000, so we're okay. So now we're in flaps 1 range. And I'm going to get those out. Look at that. Holy crap. In just a moment.
vertical track.
Yep. So. I know. I should have waited. I'll land with approach flaps. IBFL. Should be ISBA. Down to 1800. Still wrong. Oh, I never swapped it. Now we're good. Now it's switched over. Good. High. Oh my God, look at this. Might make it. Well, we're gonna make it. The question is, are we gonna get the glide slope? That's the question. Glide slope is here. I don't think so. So slope. We made it. Flaps up. Right where we want to be. Spend the day messing around here in Santa Barbara. There's more GA parking on the other side of the terminal. It's nice to park over there too, and I would do that if I was on Orbit scenery, just so I could get a good look at the terminal. Lights, icing, flaps. Transponder. And shut this thing down, there's really not a whole lot to it. Well, we'll just use the checklist. Flaps, radar, the radar doesn't even work. Strobes are off, shut down. Parking brake set. Avionics off. Electrical equipment off. Off. Never turn that on. Power switches off. Battery charge checked. Okay. ITT below 610 for 1 minute. Feathered. Condition levers off. Fuel pump off. Master comfort off. 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 Battery master off. That's it. Santa Barbara. Very nice. I did what I did. I said I was going to do this flight cold and dark to cold and dark, or warm and dark, I guess. So I did. If you find it, you like it, click the like button, and might be on tonight. I don't know where I'm going to fly. I like flying this plane just about as much as I like flying the TBM. So might be on VetSim tonight. Very pretty out here. Dear Lord, it's gorgeous. My daughter's been here. I have not.